doubles and coffee. Let's reset and clear our minds. What was intended in this, the Republican Constitution? What was intended when it was written? What was intended when we moved away from the monarchy and created the office of the president? Was it intended just to make somebody, put them there to live in a lavish lifestyle, dress up a little bit and have a function, drink a scotch and eat a shrimps? No. There was a concept of independence, a tenet of democracy that is absolutely critical. The separation of powers. And one of the methods that was designed, that was put in, that was written into the Constitution in order to put checks and balances on the control of the executive in the Westminster system, first past the post, which is the most powerful executive system known to man. It is more, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago has more actual power and control than the President of the United States of America. But this office of the President was created to put a little brakes on that power, to create independent institutions and outfit them with people of independence who would look at situations, make judgments for what the good of the country without political bias, whatever that bias may be. That is what was intended. The office of the president and its subsequent commissions and appointments that are to be made was to offer some independence apart from the political directorate. So when the political directorate says something, you would have an independent person with no skin in the game. Look at it, read it, see what is best for the red, white, and black, and act accordingly. Very critical offices are controlled by the appointments made by the president. And the intention was that these people must be independent, not influenced by those who already have power over the treasury, over appointments, over policy, over taxes, over expenditure, over the direction and decisions of the country that will carry the country into the future. The office of the president is not just to dance and telele or hibernate and sleep. The office of the president is the epitome of independence. Everything written in here was intended. Even the words consult with the prime minister and the leader of the opposition. It was not. Forget how this has been thwarted. Forget how this has been watered down. Forget how human interaction and examples of people trying to misappropriate the independence of the office and to direct it and to guide it into an area of control. Forget all of that. Let us talk about the intention. Was it ever intended that a commissioner of police would be selected by a prime minister, or that the president would be influenced by a prime minister on the selection of a commissioner of police? Is it intended that when we have elections where politicians are chosen to guide the country and control all the resources, that a politician or a political party would have an influence over the selection of those referees who guide the process of an election? The very heart of a democracy is a free and fair election. Are you all telling me that it was intended that a political party, any prime minister would have control over the selection of people to head up the EBC? Why did they create commissions for employment and to oversee? All to add to checks and balances, corporate governance, where a prime minister who already had the authority to select an entire cabinet, all the boards across the system, political and economic system, would have to follow the rules There were referees injected into the system that were to be selected by the president. If the president is on one team, the referee would be biased. You all just watch a whole World Cup. Do you think they would have selected referees from Argentina or France to referee the World Cup final? No, they took them from some country that had no connection with any one of them. Why? To get a fair adjudication, to get impartiality, to separate the powers, to have a fair game, to promote merit, to see and to ensure that the game was fair. This is what ensures that democracy is fair. This was the intention. Now that you have been reminded of the intention of the office of the president, who controls so many appointments, that will ensure some checks and balances on whoever is in power, do you really feel that a card-carrying former PNM minister, former PNM MP, sitting PNM senator selected by the current prime minister should be in the office of the president? Just serious. Serious. And if you're unsure, think about if Kamla Persad-Bissessar appointed Rudal Munilal to be president while she was prime minister. Think about if Kamla Persad-Bissessar selected Surujratan Rambachan to be president while she was prime minister. Think about if Kamla Persad-Bissessar, when she's prime minister, selected a UNC sitting member, card-carrying member of the caucus to be president. Wouldn't you be outraged? Media, what would the headlines be? Talk shows, what would the talk be? So-called independent columnists and talk show hosts and political scientists and professors and retired public servants, what would the talk be? The fact of the matter, it is just wrong. It is dictatorial. It is tyrannical. It is oppressive. It is disgusting. It is sickening. ROWLEY has now taken a further step to damage our Republican Constitution and therefore our country. Every step of the way, ROWLEY has gutted procurement, put Balize juice in every independent institution to control your money, to control those who are supposed to check him and rein him in, investigate him and charge him. ROWLEY has now taken full control of this country. And you, some of you are saying and justifying and saying that's okay. Well then, all of you who agree with that, do the right thing. Go out in the streets, light a big bonfire, and burn this Constitution, because it is useless. Because the people who agree with the office of the president being usurped and a coup d'etat taking place at Balize House, moving Balize House from its corrupt 120 million structure that no one wants to ask how it's going up, and moving it into the 118 million president's house, built by ROWLEY's best friend, Noel Garcia, who spends every cent of money without tender, without boards, without any sort of corporate governance, no transparency, no accountability. He builds airports, he builds hospitals, health centers, community centers, fire stations, police stations, sports stadiums, sports ground, and every house in Trinidad and Tobago. Then you have handed over the country to the PNM, and you have said, great is the PNM, let them thief, because this document is useless. Think about it. What was intended? Go back to basics when you get confused.